Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. All right. Jeffrey Clark. He was Assistant Attorney General, formerly an environmental lawyer. He was instrumental in trying to keep Donald Trump in power during January 6th. He's also been indicted in Georgia for the RICO case down there. Currently, he is at the D.C. Court of Appeals trying to fight to keep his law license. And according to this article I have here, excuse me, on Yahoo, he made a big slip up on Wednesday during a disciplinary hearing. And the quote comes from a committee woman for the DC bar named Patricia Matthews. Mr. Clark, you asserted a number of times attorney-client privilege. For whom were you the attorney? And Jeffrey Clark responded, for President Trump, the head of the executive branch, the sole head, the unitary head of Article 2, the executive branch of the United States government. Which is fine, but his attorney didn't expect him to share that much information. And basically told the D.C. Court of Appeals that he respectfully requested his client invoke the Fifth Amendment on further questions about attorney-client privilege. So I guess Jeffrey Clark was probably better as an environmental lawyer. By the way, I looked up on Wiki. His environmental lawyering wasn't to protect the environment. It was to say the government can issue carbon credits, to fight carbon tax, fight global warming stuff. So he's basically an environmental lawyer that's a member of the Federalist Society. So it's why we can't have nice things. There's always people on the other side just blocking it. It's a hard enough life down here with everything that needs to be done. Do you need to have people constantly preventing you from doing it? Just saying. Entertainment purposes only, Mr. Clark. Apparently, at least according to this article, you ain't too smart. And what you said wasn't going to really benefit you in this Court of Appeals might impact you later on, too. What's the energy around that? My deck is upside down. Two of Wands. I think he's kind of opened up the gates a little bit here. This slip up is an opening for people to exploit, because it's like they can now link Jeffrey Clark to Donald Trump. Direct link. He is now a quote-unquote lawyer for Donald Trump. And that's going to, when you have that little board with all the strings attaching people, not that there wasn't a string before, but now it's a different colored string. Cross with the Page of Wands, the messaging. And the King of Swords, here's Jack Smith. He thinks he's smarter than he really is. He didn't think... he opened his mouth and answered a question without thinking it through. This is kind of where that's what I'm saying there's a door open. He answered the question that was asked, and he answered it probably truthfully and accurately, but there's consequences that he did not consider down the line. His lawyer that's representing him considered it, but the cat's out of the bag at this point. And his lawyer's kind of stuck, and this is going to be something that the DC Court of Appeals is going to chew on, but you better believe Jack Smith is going to chew on that, because this probably impacts strategies of Jack Smith and of Fani Willis in Georgia. In the past, you have the Ten of Cups. I'm giggling because, here we are. We're an environmental lawyer. We're supposed to, fight for the environment. And you can't have a rainbow without acid rain, And Jeffrey Clark was there to make sure we had plenty of acid rain so we could have beautiful, trippy rainbows for the family. He was successfully moving along his career before he met Donald Trump. I don't know what possessed the man. He probably has some ambitions, some big ambitions, and he wasn't meeting those ambitions, or his ambitions were not being met. And Donald Trump just gave him an opportunity and he jumped on it. Ambitious and maybe not the brightest, the sharpest tool in the shed. Pages, though, lots of pages. Opportunity was handed to him and he took it. Tried to make the most of it. Saw himself as being the AG of the United States under Donald Trump. Current situation, though, is that by giving this information, you've opened up a can of worms for yourself. Short-term and long-term worms. You've aligned yourself with Donald Trump and the powers that, and Trump's money, for lack of a better description. This is like Trump the businessman. It'd be funny because I would have thought it would be Trump the president, but well, you know what? We'll park the Trumpism right there. Page of Pentacles, who thinks he's the King of Pentacles. I think that's the better way to translate that. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's not as smart as he thinks he is, type of thing. He thought he was much smarter than he was. He didn't realize he was a page. He thought he was a king. So he gave up what he thought was a page's salary, and it turns out to be a king's salary. I don't know what the legal consequences of this are. I'm trying to translate these cards, just based on this article here. If this is a slip up, it's a big slip up. This has big consequences. Long-term consequences that he hasn't sorted out yet. Lesson to be learned is the Four of Cups. Because now there's going to be more questions about it, and now he's going to be pleading the Fifth. If he thought he was going to keep his law license, this was not the way to go about it. Outcome, lack of integrity. Illusions and delusions, lack of integrity. That's not how you keep your law license. I think they're going to be rather harsh with him on this. But he does. It's being explained to him what he did. He didn't understand what he did, and just like my other reading, he's just going to be. He's going to double down on it. He's not going to think he did anything wrong. And again, this is not to insults the person. I don't know him. I don't know how smart he is or isn't. But this was not a wise move. Again, according to this article, assuming this article is accurate, this was not a wise move. And the cards would seem to indicate he thinks he's smarter than he really is. And those people, they can walk themselves into quite a bit of trouble. Sort of that adage, just enough to be dangerous. Also, Dunning-Kruger. Yeah. Okay. What's going to be the result of his testimony with regards to his law license? What's going to happen with his law license because of his testimony? Got some cards that look like they wanted to jump up on top there. Yikes. Okay. It's trying to make an escape. Let's see. What's going to happen with his law license? There's going to be an agreement. These are about agreements and contracts. Ace of Swords. It's a card of, having a new fight, the sword of truth, the sword of justice. I've got a great idea and I'm going to go act on that idea in the star card. Interesting. I would almost say that, if he was really honest and forthright, he could be a star. What he needs to do. Actually, this is telling me what he should be doing. He should be trying to go on a redemption arc, a la Michael Cohen. He should be trying to do a redemption story, not the story that he's going down. He came to an agreement with Donald Trump. He was going to be named the AG, and he thought his star was rising. I asked what was going to happen in this thing, but I think Spirit's going to lead me on the whole story here. In the past is temperance. Again, this is supposed to be about purification, nature. He was he's an environmental lawyer. He was supposed to be fighting, well, you'd have thought he was fighting to fight for the environment, but he was actually fighting against the environment and against regulations. He was, instead of purifying the environment, he was poisoning it. He was sticking his athlete foot covered toe in the water, thinking he's a star the whole time. It's funny because you got the card 14 and card 17 here, and it's both the blonde-haired person in the water. Somewhere they lost their clothes. Current situation, the end. Did not do themselves any favors with this. And Donald Trump may suddenly not remember this guy. That'll be interesting. I've never met him. I only met him once. Type of thing. Pair of aces here. Very passionate person. Maybe emotional, but very passionate about went on this agreement with Trump. He thought he was going to get to be the AG. He didn't get it. I think he was really upset by that, and probably suddenly became rather scared, because at that point he probably realized his culpability. But he didn't realize it that much, because guess what? He went on the election denials train with Trump. He's a mercenary. He was a mercenary. He thought he was a star. He's not a star. He's a merc. They paid him money to do a job. He did the job. They could have paid anybody to do it. He just happened to be the one that they could convince to do it. Out comes the Six of Swords. Yeah, going away. He's going to lose his law license, and there's going to be a loss of freedom with him as well, probably coming out of the Georgia case. And if not the Georgia case, certainly the January 6th case. His name is going to be indelibly tied with the insurrection and the trying to overturn this election. He's his own worst enemy. Little Four Carter. What will Jack Smith do with this, or the DC Court of Appeals, with this little admission here? What is the law going to do with that information? It seems like it was a mistake, to the point where you have to plead the fifth afterwards because you've really done it. How is this going to be exploited against him? Maybe that's not the right phrasing. What's the consequences of this? Little Four Carter. Well, it certainly shows his lack of integrity and his ability to be bought. Major Arcana in here, huh? His lack of integrity is on display. He wanted to be the AG. He's supposed to be another card that would represent the environment. The Empress is somebody who takes care of everyone, makes sure everybody has enough of everything to do well. And he was in a position before as an environmental lawyer where he was doing all right, but he was fighting against the environment, not with it. He was promised stuff by Trump. And I think that's where we're going to go with this. He was promised stuff by Trump, but he had to compromise his integrity to do it. And what you've done now is you've really linked his actions to Donald Trump. And Jeffrey Clark moved the ball forward with election interference in Georgia, as well as the January 6th insurrection. And, basically he was involved with the coup. He was involved with moving it forward. He was a champion of this. He was celebrated for what he did, and he manifested stuff. He's basically, by saying he was working with Trump, he's made himself out to be a key player in this whole event. And the other interesting thing is, now if Donald Trump wants to look for a scapegoat, he's found it. Jeffrey Clark just volunteered to be Donald Trump's scapegoat. Thank you, Jeffrey. Gave me an opportunity to blame somebody. I win, you lose. See you later, pal. Have fun in prison. I won't be around for it. Yeah, okay, so I think what happened is that Jeffrey Clark, not only did he tie himself with Donald Trump, but he might have just made himself Trump's scapegoat. And maybe that's why his lawyer panicked. Maybe it's not what the federal government's going to do to Jeffrey Clark. It's what Donald Trump's going to do to Jeffrey Clark. The snake's going to, evil consumes itself. And it looks like he's going to be one of the main dishes to be served. Good luck to you. Hope you had fun with that choice. Not the one I would have made. But there we go. We'll leave it here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for your likes, shares, comments, everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so my video makes it out to a wider audience. To folks discovering this channel recently or for the first time, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you found us. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.